Boys and girls and young architects. Namaskar. How to develop a concept is $1 million question for every student of architecture. And in this presentation, I would like to explain you about what is concept in architectural design and how this concept can be taken forward into a logical design. So let us begin. How to develop a concept? It is always a concern with the students of architecture. So here in this presentation, as suggested by a student of architecture, I would like to present to you how to go about developing a concept and what are the important factors behind developing a concept. What is concept? It is a plan. It's a planned thing. It is an intention about architectural design project. It is also an idea or invention to help develop a proposal for client's acceptance. Because if your concept is not accepted by the client, then the concept is of no use. So you have to have an idea that is acceptable to the client. Concept is also, yes, an idea, it's a mental image. This corresponds to some already seen form. You may be having something in mind. You might have traveled and registered something in your mind that can come out as a concept maybe later on at any design project. It could be a building which you have seen some time back and you have liked some aspects of that building that can come out as a concept. It could be related to natural element or it can be an organism and its structure which is extended further, which has been iterated, which has gone through a process to realize as a concept. So concept plays an important part in developing a reason for which you are designing or taking forward an idea. How to develop a concept? A concept can be developed at the starting of design. You can start with the concept and then take through your design. A concept can be after analyzing the brief of the project. The client has given you a brief, your faculty member has given you a brief for your design. Read that brief again and again. Do certain calculations, do certain groupings, arrive at the areas, and while you are doing so in a mathematical way, certain imagery gets formed in your mind, and that can give rise to a concept. A concept can also be an afterthought based on how the iterative process results into. So concept also is an afterthought. Afterthought means you actually proceeded with the design, you have completed halfway through, and then suddenly you get a realization that, oh yeah, my design matches with this idea from nature. My design matches with this kind of faint imagination that I had some time back, related to a photograph of a building, related to something that I have seen. And then you try to bring in that and try to correlate with your design. And then a concept emerges. A concept gets established with architectural design process. A concept can be deep rooted. or it can be superficial, reflecting in ornamentation of the building. Means the building, almost the design is ready, and you are going to add a lot of ornamental features to it. This also could be a conceptual idea. A concept need to relate to any element of a building. Certain elements, if you liked from the building, you would like to bring in into your design, and then that can also give rise to a concept. These are some of the photographs that I would like to show to you, which comes in a very natural way, not designed by any architect, but how people relate their ideas of constructing a built form with that of a concept. For example, the Bhunga hut. It is common in Kutch region of Western India. And these are the huts, they are quite circular with a thatched roof because of the hot sun. Lot of heat comes inside. To protect the inside from the heat, thatch roof is preferred over any other building material. And then they decorate. Naturally, they have the idea of decorating the buildings. So they decorate the building profusely. Building is in a circular form because that area has got a nature of strong winds, and many times the winds are with a lot of sand because it is in the desert. So uh, because of the sand and the wind, it creates an abrasive effect on the building, and that's why circular form defends such aggression of the wind in much better way than a normal form. And that's why a circular form over a period of time is evolved there. People have accepted this as a normal thing for a Bhunga hut. On the right side, there is a photograph of Assam, typical Assam houses in the rural area. Most of these houses are constructed in wood and they are on pillars, wooden posts. It is all because the region can be flooded with water anytime. And that's why you need to be at a safe place. So most of the houses you will find that they are on stilt. And because Assam is full of various kinds of trees and bamboo especially, that the use of wood and bamboo is profusely done in such houses. So these are some of the examples of how in a very natural manner a concept can be instilled into the design. This is another example of painted houses of Shekhawati region of Rajasthan, where every house after construction has been intricately painted. You will find how beautiful the entire house becomes after intricate painting, and then it takes months together to paint the house. So you will find that these are very exotic houses, and the very nature of painting on the facade makes them very different. The second photograph is the courtyard of the Shekhawati house. You will find that this courtyard is not just for the light and ventilation, but also it is a great decorative feature in which there can be a fountain, there could be sculptures. So they are very proud of having a show of their courtyard, and also can be a great place to sit, chat, do a lot of creative work. I would like to show you a very important example of Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research in Mumbai, done by Mr. Jain. The entire campus is on a hill slope, and it's very interesting here that the central portion of the campus is like a central portion of a palm, no, hand. And then these are some of the actual qualities that are akin to the finger and the thumb. And you'll find that when the entire campus was laid out, it was leading to an impression of a palm of a hand. And you'll find that that's the concept that has been brought into this design. In addition to the central courtyard being like a stepped well of Gujarat, that also can be brought in as a concept. So these are some of the aspects that uh, are very important in development of a concept. Concept cannot be taken in a literal way. No, many students make that mistake. They take something and then they try to fit in their design, which is really not correct. In fact, whatever idea they have in mind need to modify to suit to the architectural design development, and that is important. For example, a leaf. Somebody would just take a leaf and develop this leaf can be developed like this, and then they try to fit in the design into this, which is really very superficial. One should not really think about from this point of view. Whereas if you get into the details of the leaf and you appreciate the way the lines on the leaf are, then you start analyzing it, you will find that there is a central line that goes like this. And then there are branches. And once you start studying it in depth, you'll find that these branches are not at the same place. They are alternatively, they, they alternatively are the offshoots of the main central axis. And that is precisely can be brought into your, say, campus design uh, exercise. For example, if this is an external road outside your site and you bring in a road inside like this, then you may think about inside your site having branches of these roads like this. And this concept is a modified concept of what you have learned from the leaf. And one important thing that you have studied, and which also is an important aspect of a campus design, is that the inside road should be as, as much as possible a T junction. And then that you achieve. So you achieve T junctions as well as you achieve whatever you have seen and studied from a leaf as a concept to your design. So some students take flower as a concept, and literally they will take the outline of the flower and try to fit in the design, as I have told you before, which is really not correct. No, they need to study the flower, they need to study how the the points of beauties are there in the flower, how are the color distribution, how is the form, and how the form can be modified to suit the concept of their design project. Or it can be an aeroplane as a concept. Now, when it comes to an aeroplane, I have an interesting example to be shown to you. A number of years back, maybe about 3, 4 decades back, there was an important architect called Eero Saarinen. Eero Saarinen designed Trans World Airlines Terminus building in New York, in USA. And his concept was that if it is an aeroplane, it takes to skies, and a bird also always goes into the sky. So why not to have a concept of a bird, flying bird? So a bird in flight was his concept to develop the airport terminal building. Now you cannot literally take the wings of the bird and then try to stuff into your requirements. It's not this is going to be very superficial. But then a very simple artistic way of representation of the bird in flight is this simple line, which gives an idea of a bird in flight. And with that in mind, he developed the further design of the airport. And that airport has been a very commendable design many years back, which was based on the concept of a bird in flight. So the concept does not remain only there as a outside form of a bird in flight, but because of its nature, that there are no vertical or there are no clear cut horizontal lines. The lines are very flowing lines, they have fluidity in them. So why can't be the interiors of the airport also on the same lines? So Saarinen went around and then he tried to even design the reception counter in a very fluid manner. Even the walls and the openings behind are designed in a very fluid manner. Even the beams are designed in a very fluid manner. So it's not only the outside, but it is also the inside that has been designed in a very flowing manner. And this has been a very successful design many years back of Trans World Airlines Terminus building in New York. Now, coming home in India, this is a typical courtyard concept from South India. Courts arts are there in all our buildings in North as well as in South. In North, Couple of slides back, you have seen Shekhawati House, there was a courtyard. The courtyard was more exotic. The courtyard was to display things, display royalty, display sculpture, and also would admit light and ventilation. Similarly, the courtyard in South India is not for display, but yes, it is for admitting light and ventilation. And this courtyard, whether you to go to Kerala or Karnataka, coastal Karnataka especially, these courtyards are very common. And the courtyard is an essential part of most of the South Indian houses. And what happens in the courtyard? The courtyards are there to for the children to play, drying of grains in summer, festival celebrations, religious activities. You will find in all Indian houses, courtyards invariably will have a Tulsi Katta or Tulsi Vrindavan. This is very important in all South India houses, which might not be there in North Indian courtyards, which you have seen in the Shekhawati house. So this is the difference between the North Indian courtyard and the South Indian courtyard. But the common thing between them is that both the types of courtyards admit light and ventilation, because whether it is North India or whether it is South India, we are all in the tropical region. And in tropical region, courtyard becomes very advantageous in building design. In South India, the rains are extremely heavy, and that's why the roofing slopes are also that way. The roofs slope heavily, and when it rains, it actually downpours. So the courtyard becomes very handy for collection of water and disposing them safely outside the house. And also, the courtyard and the surrounding veranda protect the main walls of the interior rooms from the splashing of rainwater. Now, in modern times, the courtyard can be modified like this. This is how the concept of courtyard gets transformed into modern houses. You have a jhula there to enjoy that little courtyard. It's mainly for landscaping. It is not for the children's play. It is not for drying the grains. So this courtyard concept can be brought into modern day living, but in a different way. But yes, one mainstay is always there. It provides light and ventilation. But then this modern courtyard is covered from the top with transparent sheets so that the light can get admitted, the ventilation also can happen. But then it provides security to the house. So that is about the concept. Let us sum it up. Concept can begin with the design. It can be related to climate and build form. It can be afterthought, an occurrence. It can relate to the traditional architecture as well, because we are very rich in traditional culture and architecture. So certainly, if you think, your concept can also get related to the traditions or the traditional build forms. it also related to the ornamentation or a particular component of an old building. So that is about the concept development. Concept cannot be right at the beginning if there is a mind block in you and you are not able to develop a concept. Doesn't matter. Go ahead with the design. Go ahead with the brief. Read it. Do a lot of calculations from the brief. Start doing the design. Start sequencing various rooms for a logical design. And as you pass through, as you come to an elevation stage, and when you start developing elevations, probably there is every likelihood that you will hit upon a very nice concept. And then at that time, you relate the concept to your design. And then when you finalize your design, you finalize the design with the concept. So that is what I would like to tell you about how to go about developing a concept. I hope you have liked this presentation. Thank you.